Hey, Jim Kielbaso here with Utah State strength coach Joe Powell, and I want to talk about two of the most controversial or talked about things that we see all over social media as far as training goes, and that's max box jumps onto like a really high box, because everybody's got to show that video, and also crazy footwork drills of stuff where people are going behind their backs and through different hoops that have nothing to do with the actual sport that they're playing. Yeah, they're cool coordination drills, but they have nothing to do with the actual sport, and we want to get your take on those. So what do you think about people trying to get as high as they can onto a box?
You know, it's funny because say we're training basketball players, volleyball players, they don't jump onto a box within their sport. They are told just to jump as high as you can to go get a rebound. You want to spike that ball, jump as high as you can. And I think we take away from the actual specificity of the sport training that we're doing. And also, the reason why I don't necessarily like them, they have a time and place. And to say that I've never used them or will never use them, I won't say that. But I prefer just jumping without the box instead. Now, the reason why is because if the box is so high, we're not actually measuring straight power output or vertical jump ability. We're measuring their flexibility in a sense to get onto the box, right? So yes, you do have to have a good amount of distance or force, put into the ground and distance traveling upwards. But at the end of the day, if you catch yourself in a high box, you have to get in a very deep squat position. And I'm gonna guess a lot of the athletes are not used to that, A. And B, if you're close, there is a serious risk for injury. If you fall in the box, if you have hard boxes, not every box is soft like that. So it just, at the end of the day, scraping shins and having someone bust a toe, does that, the risk outweigh the reward for that when you could just simply jump up as high as you can?
But if you videotape it, it gets so many likes. So how could it be wrong?
That is true. That reward may be worth the risk.
There we go. Now, what about the footwork drills? Because I think footwork drills with hoops and ladders and stuff where you're going behind your back and twisting around and doing about a million things in an obstacle course fashion, that gets even more likes.
It does.
Than high box jumps.
And those, while they can look very cool, do you know what that makes you better at?
What, Joe?
Literally running in place on a ladder, doing obstacle courses. I don't think it makes you a better football player, a better basketball player, a better volleyball player. It just kind of gets you good at the activity you're doing. Now, to say that I won't use them, that's false, because you can use them in certain ways, but you got to know why you're using them. You're not going to get overall speed off of that. You get a little bit of low-level plyometrics involved. For younger athletes, it's great because they take pride in doing them, and it's an activity. And we all know if you add a ball to an exercise, if you add a ladder to an exercise, they're going to enjoy, taking pride in doing that activity. So it does have a place, but I think the reason why people use them, just to make it look fancy and to say that their footwork is getting better, I don't think there's anything to that necessarily. And I know Jim and I were talking about an exercise and a series of drills that we like better, and that's the reactive agility drill. So Jim will do that all the time with his athletes. I certainly like them as well. So instead of just having a closed course where they've been able to rehearse the same pattern over and over and over, now give them something that's totally randomized, because last time I checked, sport is pretty randomized, isn't it?
I don't know. I think that, I know I was all-state ladder team in high school, and I don't know if you were on the all-ladder team or not.
I was on the all-box jumping team myself.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Sport.
So I do think that athletes a lot of times need to get their feet moving. I see a lot of athletes who really aren't good at moving their feet quickly, so I get it that we want to do things that their feet are moving, and their coordination, especially at younger ages, I think can be really cool. I don't think that making it overly complex is what we need, because you never do that in sport like what you alluded to. I would rather see somebody do something quick, that maybe practice a move and then burst out of it like you would in an actual sporting situation. If you're a soccer player, you might have to make a feint and then go get open for a ball. Sure. If you're a basketball player, maybe you practice your move and then you drive to the hoop, but you don't need to do the move over and over and over and over again the same way, like you said, in a fashion that is completely unlike anything that you're ever going to see.
Correct. And speed ladders do have a place too, because I know we've used it as a warm-up before, and guys really go hard. But the funniest thing I notice, and it's so ironic, that if guys have free time and they have an off day, mainly football players, I know this, and they'll ask to borrow a speed ladder, they'll put it out, and they will hammer drills over and over and over, but they like doing it on their own terms, because I know for a lot of years at Central Michigan, we would do it as a warm-up on a certain day, and we made it difficult. We got a good lather, they were sweating, and guys despised it. So it's funny, do they like it because they think it works, just because they can take a lot of rest in between, make it look fancy, but then when we try to implement it ourselves, they didn't like it. So it's almost like which why do you like doing this? So
Yeah,
it's
and
an interesting.
you know what? Speaking of that,
phenomenon.
so I think what people don't like are the longer ladders because it burns.
Sure.
Shorter ladders seem to be a little more popular when people do them on their own. And something that I've enjoyed is instead of doing a ladder drill like the same thing, let's just take the Icky Shuffle. Instead of doing the Icky Shuffle like 30 times down the ladder, maybe you just do it once and then you sprint out. So you can
Right.
use a ladder or you can use the hoops. You can use that footwork. And it's the same way with some of the crazy stuff that you see where you're, chopping your feet around in different places and trying to remember which color cones you can run to. Instead of doing all of them, maybe pick one of them or do it in more of a reactive agility type situation where you have somebody coming at you, and now if you're the offensive player you have to use one of those moves, or if you're the defensive player you have to react to what they're doing and utilize some of the fast feet along with a burst of acceleration.
I couldn't agree more, and it's a great point too, because you can take bits of the drills and then have them do something off the ladder and do a quick cut and you're done. That's 3 to 4 seconds, because as we know, as a wide receiver, if you're sitting there doing these roundabout, curly Q drills, and then you break off, then you run to cone 1, cone 2, cone 3, that's 10 seconds. And unless you have Michael Vick reincarnated at the high school level or something, the quarterback is not going to take that long for you as a wide receiver to get open, So it just doesn't really apply to sports. So, making it simplified, and that's not what people want to hear, making something simple or simplified, but that will give you more bang for your buck and apply more to your sport and maybe help you to be better at your sport.
Yeah, so we can still jump onto boxes sometimes.
Sure.
And we can still
Sure.
use ladders and do different things, but that may be like not as much of what we're doing.
Correct.
I meant to say that I really don't like it when people stack up plates and jump onto the
Absolutely.
plates. I see somebody doing that at a gym that I work out at sometimes, and I just can't bear to watch because he's got a box and then 10 plates stacked up because he saw somebody doing it on YouTube. And if one of those plates slips, that guy could seriously get hurt, like what you said.
And I've always thought about it too. That's a great point. Everyone wants to quantify how high they can jump. Oh, I jumped the 16-inch box jump. I jumped, 50 plates stacked on top of each other. Well, it's not as cool as just jumping straight up and landing on a lower box, even though you may have gotten more height, because you can't quantify it. So I think that's a problem. Our ego gets in the way, and then we get hurt, right? The stupidity leads to injury type thing.
And jumping straight up and down doesn't get as many likes.
No, it doesn't. No.
All right. Forget about the likes. Do what's right for the athletes.
Correct.